Hi guys, it's Steph from IDRIVEACLASSIC, and today I'm back in something a little bit different and a little bit sexier than what we usually see. I'm in a Triumph TR7 in the most gorgeous shade of Java green I've ever seen. So it's time to buckle up, because in this video I'm going to show you around the outside of the car, bring you inside, show you under the bonnet, and then I'm going to take you for a drive out so you can hear how this car really sounds, because honestly it's one of the coolest cars I've ever driven, and I'm certain you are going to love it too. So let's go.
Before we go out for a drive, I always love to show you all the way around the car so you can get a full appreciation for things like original number plates, pop-up wipers, and what was once described in a marketing brochure as the shape of things to come. Now, as we look around the car, you'll see that it's in really nice condition, which I'm quite surprised about really, because the owner of this car is using it as their daily car. Now, for those of you that are wondering how big the engine is, it's a 2-litre engine. And is it a manual or an auto? Well, that's a funny question, because originally this was an auto and it's now a manual. If you'd picked this up fresh from the showroom back in the 70s yourself, you could have either gone for a 4-speed manual, a 5-speed manual, or a 3-speed automatic. So as we come round, somebody's retrofitted something and I just want to show you. I'm going to bring you round. Look at the shape of that. It looks like a toy. It looks like a toy that's been blown up. Now let me show you the little circle mirror that's on the normal mirror. And the reason for that is you see the big pillars at the back. It's creating quite a big blind spot. So it just helps you when you're overtaking or you're trying to see what's coming, and just makes things a bit easier. Now let's have a look inside. Before we go for a drive, let's have a look inside. So the first thing you've probably spied is the tartan trim, which was introduced in 1977 and complements the colour of the car. You've got an ashtray there, and you see those window winders? I'm sure I've seen them on something BL like an Allegro or a Maxi. You've got your pedals down there. I just thought I'd show you those because they've been stamped with the BL Whirlpool. Now have a listen to this horn, because I think you're going to love it. So that's an Italian horn, and it's been retrofitted afterwards. You've got everything, just feels a little bit more modern in here. I mean, you've got 2-speed wipers. It just feels very modern for the age of the car, and everything's quite thoughtfully laid out inside as well. I don't think it looks as dated as some cars. However, I've just spied a tape player, which incidentally is the same one I've got in Jill. You've got a 5-speed gearbox, so this will be the first time I've driven a 5-speed. You've got all the additional controls there. You've got your TR7 stamped glove box, and again that tartan trim is run through both the door cards and the seats. You've got an armrest there, and you've got all your controls there. So the standard of this car and the condition it's in now is actually really nice, and I'm sure you've probably already guessed this, but it is only a 2-seater. However, that's quite a generous parcel shelf, and you could definitely get some shopping on there. So why don't we take this out for a drive, and I can show you exactly what it's like. Lights up, time for a test drive.
Guys, I absolutely love this car. Oh look, there's another little sports car. Hello. Oh my god, I'm in like some secret club now of cool people in sports cars, except I'm not a cool person. But I just love this car. If you imagine like those toy cars that you used to have when you were kids, everything from the colour to the pop-up wipers, it is such a love. I mean, I'm going to get past this cyclist and then I'm going to just press the horn, because honestly, I know I keep talking about it, but I absolutely love it. Listen to this. It's like a little toy. I really love it. So when people think about British Leyland, they think about striking, and something else that I've been told that I think is quite funny about British Leyland, about this car, is that, surprise, surprise, British Leyland went on strike the first day, the very first day they were going to make these cars. And do you know why? Because they said that the factory smelt of cats. Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine someone pulling that off in 2019? Anyway, they cleaned the factory for them, and they said, right, it's safe for you to go back. You can go back into the factory and carry on working. They went back in and said, the floor's too wet now, we can't carry on. And then they went on strike again. If I'd been making a car like this, you wouldn't have seen me go on strike. I would have cracked on, got one done, and got out in it on the road. So the Triumph TR7 was in production for 6 years. And it's kind of, if you were looking for a sports car in that sort of era, you would have been looking at something like this, or you would have been looking at an MGB. And people kind of probably remember MGBs a lot more because they sold for a lot longer. But I mean, I don't understand why this wasn't made for longer, or why it wasn't more popular, because it's really great. You can get speeds of up to 120 miles an hour. It's straight off the lights. Like today I've been driving around, and as soon as I got my head around that gearbox and I stopped thinking, oh, I'm going to crank the gears, it's just so much fun that you can really get your head around it. And I think whoever upgraded this from an automatic to a manual did the right thing, because you don't fully appreciate how great a sports car is until you've got out of that auto mindset and into a manual. As we've been driving around, Matt's been telling me different stories about British Leyland and about the car, which I love, because I don't just want to talk technical with you guys. I want to talk to you about the cars themselves and kind of different things. And I got told, and this has made me laugh so much, that the windscreens on these cars are bonded in, and the very altruistic British Leyland workers actually stole this fridge that they needed to keep the bond in. Can you imagine? I mean, you wouldn't even get away with nicking a pen from most workplaces nowadays, let alone a fridge.
As I explore the villages nearby, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Triumph TR7 and some interesting facts too. So the TR7 was manufactured from September 1974 through to October 1981 under British Leyland, and was first produced in Liverpool before production moved to Coventry in 1978, which means this lovely car I'm in today was made in Coventry. And for those of you tuning in from abroad, that's in the Midlands. Production was moved to Solihull plant for the final production years of 1980 and 1981, and for Americans tuning in, the car was introduced to the American market in 1975. Now, I'm a bit of a geek for facts and history and trivia, so I want to tell you a little bit about the man who made this car, and his name was Harris Mann, and you'll probably know that name if you're interested in British motoring history. Mann was an absolute genius who worked on various car projects for firms such as Morris and Ford, and was responsible for the iconic designs of the Austin Allegro, the Princess, the Metro, arguably the best car in the world, and the Maestro. And after he went freelance, he worked on the MG Rover MGZ series, which is a pretty impressive CV. For those of you a little bit older, this car might bring back some memories, because the yellow TR7 was driven by Purdy in the cool 70s TV series The Avengers. Now, I can't think of a better way to sell a sports car than having Joanna Lumley take it for a spin. And for those of you wondering how many are left, there are less than 1,000 TR7s left in the UK. Now, they were popular across the pond, so unlike other 70s cars where they weren't such a big hit abroad, the true remaining figure of these cars is probably a lot higher, but not something I'm able to quantify. Now, unlike the Morris Minor single mark club, all Triumph cars are welcomed into the Triumph Owners Club, and there is even a thriving Triumph Young Members section called the TR Youth, which suggests the club is doing all it can to preserve these stunning cars for the next generation. Although this has been one of the coolest cars, no, the coolest car I've ever driven, I wanted to ask the owner, Matt, why did you pick a Triumph TR7?
So I saw a car on East Anglia Car Auctions website. It was a 1979 inky yellow fixed head, and I thought, I really want one of these cars in my life. Unfortunately, the starting bid was way beyond what I wanted to pay for the car, so the next day, probably out of spite, I rang round all the specialists, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted a manual, fixed head, with a sunroof. And then I found this one. It's an early Spake built car, Java green, which is a fantastic colour, 5 speed, which is a bonus. So I bought the car February last year, and last February we had the Beast from the East, so that really stopped me using a sports car made by British Leyland in the 1970s because of all the salt and ice and general bad driving conditions. But then we had a gorgeous summer, so I was using it every single day, sunroof back on my way to work. Really nice to use, and I've been using it frequently ever since. I've got an Austin Allegro and a Rover P6 as well, so I use them as well, but Triumph's nice on a nice sunny day.
Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the video of the Triumph TR7 just as much as I've enjoyed driving this amazing sports car around. I really feel now might be the time to hang up my Morris Minor. Joking, but I might get a sports car because honestly I've had so much fun today. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you're the first ones to know when my new videos are up on the channel. If you're on Instagram, I'm also on Instagram too, and I would love it if we could connect on there. I'm at IDRIVEACLASSIC, so it's pretty easy to remember, but if not, I'll see you next Sunday, so take care and drive safely.